Buckingham Palace has announced the death of Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning monarch in British history.
You might have heard, the Queen is dead and the world is in mourning.
Behind the polished crown and royal splendor, Queen Elizabeth's reign harbors a shadowy legacy that history has long tried to bury. With the death of the Queen, the past is being unraveled yet again, and not everyone mourns the monarch. Queen Elizabeth stood as a silent witness to the sins of the empire as it tainted history with its colonialist ambitions and penchant for slavery. Let's uncover the ugliest parts of the Queen's legacy, her apathy to the horrific brutalities of the state, and the shocking truths about her own leadership.
3 years later, she gave Justin Trudeau a piece of her mind after the Canadian Prime Minister reminded her that he's the 12th PM to serve during her reign.
For many decades, no one has had the courage to ask the tough questions plaguing our minds about the beloved Queen of England, but now is finally the time to do it. Queen Elizabeth, despite her legendary reign, was never fully free from the shadows of the monarchy's past. In fact, some say she quietly upheld its darker legacy. Ever wonder why the crown never really reckoned with its imperial past? From the brutal grip of colonial rule to wealth built on the backs of the oppressed, these sins were swept under the royal rug. And Elizabeth, often seen as the symbol of stability, never really distanced herself from it. This makes us wonder, by staying silent, did she help the monarchy dodge accountability? Let's not forget that Britain played a key role in some of history's darkest chapters. Take the transatlantic slave trade, for example. From 1640 to 1807, millions of Africans were captured and shipped to the Americas, fueling Britain's wealth. Or the Opium Wars, where Britain fought to keep its illegal drug trade with China alive at the cost of countless lives. And then there's the 1940 Bengal famine, where 4 million Indians starved while Churchill diverted their food to feed British troops during World War II.
The 1562 journey of John Hawkins, the first English person known to have included enslaved Africans in his cargo, was approved by Queen Elizabeth I herself.
These aren't just footnotes in history, they're deep scars, and the monarchy, under Queen Elizabeth, never fully separated itself from the legacy they left behind. Queen Elizabeth's defenders love to claim she shouldn't be blamed for the monarchy's dark past, since she wasn't on the throne when those atrocities happened. But while she didn't reign during the British Empire's most brutal chapters, she proudly wore the crown, literally and symbolically, until her last breath. She never once stepped away from the institution or its dark history. Instead, she embraced it. Elizabeth wasn't just the figurehead, she was the monarchy, tied to its legacy of exploitation and power grabs. This wasn't just a job, it was her family business, built on blood, not merit. She paraded around in jewels her ancestors looted and reveled in her royal status without ever acknowledging the empire's dirty deeds. So, how can anyone argue she's completely innocent? Isn't silence and pride in that legacy just as scandalous? When Queen Elizabeth took the throne in 1952, she stepped into a world where over a quarter of the global population, more than 700 million people, were living under British imperial rule, spanning continents from Africa to Asia and beyond. Sure, her 70-year reign saw the British Empire transform into the Commonwealth of Nations, and a noticeable decline in the UK's global influence. But let's not forget, the scars of colonialism still haunt many communities today. How can we ignore the legacy of enslavement, violence, and theft that defined imperial rule? It's no wonder people find it challenging to separate the Queen as an individual from the institution she represented and its dark history. Can we truly view her as an innocent figure amidst a narrative stained by oppression? Or do we need to confront the uncomfortable truths of the monarchy's past to understand its present?
I presumed that we British, we were the good guys, and we were trying to beat the bad guys. But then later, I discovered that when we came to our own struggle here, that wasn't quite true.
While people celebrate her reign, it's hard to ignore that under her crown, the empire still committed grave sins. During Queen Elizabeth's reign, the British Empire wasn't done with its dark chapters. Far from it. Ever heard of the Mau Mau Rebellion in Kenya? From 1952 to 1963, British forces went all out to crush the Kenya Land and Freedom Army, a movement fighting for independence. Starting in 1902, the colonial government snatched up some of the finest lands in Kenya, designating them as reserved for European settlers. These regions, known as the White Highlands, left African people with zero tenancy rights. The beloved then Princess Elizabeth was present in Kenya herself, as her crown robbed the Kenyans of their rights. But here's the part no one likes to talk about. Around 1.5 million Kenyans, mostly Kikuyu, were rounded up and thrown into detention camps or so-called protected villages. What happened there? Torture, abuse, and horrors that are tough to even imagine. And all of this went down with Queen Elizabeth still proudly wearing the crown. So, here's the real question. Can she really be separate from these atrocities if they happened under her watch?
The British might say they don't do torture, but we, the Mau Mau people, have gone through their torture.
Another dark chapter of Queen Elizabeth's reign is Yemen. On October 14, 1963, a single anti-colonial attack in Aden, a British protectorate, set off a chain of violent events. What did Britain do? Declared a state of emergency and unleashed a wave of brutality to suppress the uprising. But here's the kicker. After years of bloodshed, they were forced to retreat, leading to the creation of South Yemen in 1967. So, while Elizabeth's reign is often painted as peaceful and stable, how do we reconcile that with the violence, defeat, and chaos that went down in places like Aden? Did she just quietly watch as the empire crumbled? That's exactly what it looks like, making her partly, if not solely, responsible for the deaths of thousands of innocent people. Just when you think the worst part of the Queen's past has passed, there's more. The Iraq War in 2004. The war kicked off under a massive lie from the US, claiming Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. Enter George Bush and Tony Blair, the architects of a catastrophic invasion whose consequences are still shaking the world today. The 2016 Chilcot Report pulled back the curtain on Blair's reckless ambition for war, revealing he flat-out deceived the British public and Parliament.
Iraq. In an interview with CNN, Blair apologized for what he called mistakes in planning and understanding the consequences of removing former Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein. Blair admitted that the invasion of Iraq has been one of the principal causes of the rise of the Daesh terrorists. He added that those who invaded Iraq in 2003 are partly responsible for the current situation there.
Yet, in a jaw-dropping move, the Queen later honored Blair with the prestigious Knight Companion of the Most Noble Order of the Garter, despite over 1 million people petitioning her to reconsider. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. From Yemen to Kenya and beyond, the British monarchy was also involved in hiding and burying files that could expose their illegal activities.
It is the empire, which includes 1/4 of all the land and of all the peoples of the world, that gives to Britain its position as a first-class power.
While the monarchy often portrays itself as a symbol of national pride, the truth is that maintaining this opulent lifestyle comes with a hefty price tag. From lavish state banquets to the upkeep of sprawling estates, the costs skyrocket. And guess who foots the bill? Hard-working taxpayers. Many Brits are left scratching their heads, wondering if their contributions are better spent on public services like healthcare and education instead of funding a royal lifestyle that sometimes feels disconnected from the everyday struggles of the people. While estimates place Elizabeth's net worth at around $500 million, the exact figure remains a closely guarded secret, thanks to the House of Windsor's reluctance to disclose her total assets. Expert David McClure, in his 2020 book, The Queen's True Worth, valued her wealth at approximately $468 million. So where does all this wealth come from? Elizabeth's fortune is built on high-value items like jewelry and art, along with investment holdings and prime real estate. Her portfolio includes iconic properties like Balmoral Castle in Scotland and Sandringham House in England. With such incredible wealth, one can't help but wonder, how much of this wealth is built on colonialism and death? Whether it is the Koh-i-Noor diamond that now adorns the Queen or the Star of Africa, so many of Queen Elizabeth's jewels are nothing but a reminder of Britain's cruel imperialism.
Carries with it legacy, carries with it death, devastation, beauty. This incredible jewel has not just been passed down through generations, it's been stolen, it's been fought over, it's gone through all manner of chicanery and skullduggery to get it to its current point. It carries with it a curse because of its sheer history of death and deprivation.
The 21st century depictions of Queen Elizabeth as the epitome of white innocence and composure in films and TV shows, they're not just a cozy trip down memory lane, they're a calculated smokescreen. These portrayals play a key role in whitewashing the brutal colonial racism and violence that marked her reign. By clinging to this charming image of a sweet, unassuming monarch, whose biggest issues were merely family dramas, we conveniently ignore the empire's horrific legacy and the blood that stains her legacy. So here's the real question. Why do we let ourselves be lulled into this sanitized narrative? Isn't it time we confront the most scandalous secret of all, the empire itself, and acknowledge the uncomfortable truths we've been avoiding?